So today we are going to start with a new concept. That is, we are going to learn about the common properties of all acids in all bases. So in this particular topic, we are going to understand that what is the common thing that is present in acids and what is the common thing which is present in bases. It is a type of ion, we can say. Now, in case of acids, when we talk about acids, we always put a suffix acid. See how you can identify an acid. Always when we write the name of an acid, we write the suffix as acids. Suppose if I talk about hydrochloric acid, so it is HCl. If I talk about sulfuric acid, if I talk about nitric acid, if I talk about acetic acid, lactic acid, so all these saccharic acid, so all these acids, they have a common suffix that is acids. So this is one thing how we can identify that a particular, whether the given material to you is an acid or not, by the name of the, if somebody is going to tell you the name of the solution, that, and if the name ends with acid, that means that particular solution is an acid. Now, second thing which comes, which also tells us about the properties of acids, is the H plus ions. In all the acids, all the different types of acids, you will find one thing common, that is they have H plus ions, or they have hydrogen ions. Now, since I'm talking about ions, so obviously we are saying that ions, we know that ions are produced in the presence of water. So all the acids have one thing in common, that is they have hydrogen ions in them. If I talk about hydrochloric acid, it is represented as HCl. If I talk about sulfuric acid, it is represented as H2SO4, nitric acid, HNO3, acetic acid, CH3COOH. So you can see everywhere we can find hydrogen ions. So now today we are going to learn that how we can tell about the common properties of acids and bases by few small activities which we are going to do today. So first activity is very basic, it is very general, and you also know about the activity that whenever ions are produced from a solution, they lead to production of electric current. So this is what we are going to prove today through the first activity, and that is why we've written over here electrical conduction. The ions will lead to electrical conduction, and then we'll study about dissolution of acid in water, how acids dissolve in water, what happens exactly when acid is mixed with water. So see, I'm not going to tell you over here that what is the technique, how do we mix the acid with water. Here we are going to talk that what exactly happens to acid, what is the reaction that takes place, and which type of ions are liberated when acid is added to water. And the third one is dissolution of base in water. That is, how do we add, when we add base, any base to water, any basic substance to water, what happens, which ions are liberated. And last topic which we are going to study about is dilution. So from the name itself, we can just make we can get an idea that dissolution means dissolving of acid into water, and dilution means basically we are adding more and more of solvent to reduce the concentration of a particular substance. Okay, so let's start with it. So first of all, I'll take different types of acids: hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, sodium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, glucose, alcohol. These are the samples which I have taken. Then there is this particular setup which is, I have taken this setup. You can see I have taken a beaker. This is a beaker. I have taken a solution in this beaker. Now this is for us, it's a solution only, and then I have taken a rubber cork and I have placed two iron nails. Now these iron nails are connected to the positive and negative terminal of the battery. So I hope you guys know what is the positive and negative terminal. The smaller one is the negative terminal and the larger one is the positive terminal. So the nail which is connected to the positive terminal is positively charged, and the nail which is connected to the negative terminal is negatively charged. Again, I have placed a bulb, I've placed a switch. Now, what is the purpose of placing a bulb? Basically, I said that whenever acids, they have the tendency to conduct electricity because ions are liberated. Which ions are liberated? Hydrogen ions are liberated. So due to the liberation of these hydrogen ions, electron movement take place, and due to the movement of electrons, what happens? Electric current is generated. So that is why the bulb glows. So bulb will glow only in case of acid and not in case of any other salt. I hope I'm clear. So now let's just observe what exactly is the activity, how does it takes place. Now in case of HCl, when we have taken HCl and H2SO4, bulb will glow. In case of sodium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, also the bulb will glow. But in case of alcohol and glucose, if you see, the bulb will not glow. Now, what is the reason behind that in case of HCl and H2SO4, the bulb is glowing due to the presence of H plus ions respectively. Now, whether you take any acid, you take HNO3, you take acetic acid, you take this lime water, you take um, any particular acid, if you take nitric acid or else you take carbonic acid, so all these acids will lead to production of what? Electric current, and bulb will glow. What is the reason behind it? Reason is the production of H plus ions. In case of base also, you'll see the bulb will glow, but the reason behind the glow of bulb is basically the OH minus ions which are present in a base. Now we say whenever we talk about acids, we talk about H plus ions are being produced, and whenever we talk about bases, we say that OH minus ions are produced, or we can say that hydroxyl ions are produced. Now in case of glucose and alcohol, since the formula says C6H12O6 and C2H5OH for alcohol, the bulb will not glow because there the tendency of formation of H plus ions and OH minus ions is negligible. So that is why the bulb will not glow in case of glucose and alcohol. Whereas in case of base and acid, the bulb will glow due to the presence of the H plus and OH minus ions. I hope I'm very much clear to you that whenever we talk about acids, we take into consideration H plus ions, and whenever we talk about bases, we take into consideration OH minus ions. Now let's proceed further. Like exactly what happens when dissolution of acids in water takes place. So this is one activity by which we can prove the electrical conductivity of acids and bases. Now, if you want to prove the dissolution of acids in water, what exactly we are going to do, as you have already read that we have taken NaCl and we took NaCl plus H2SO4. That is, we have taken salt plus acid. Any salt plus acid will lead NaCl plus H2SO4. It is a type of double displacement reaction again. So it will lead to formation of Na2SO4 plus HCl. Now HCl which is liberated over here, it will be in gaseous state. That is why you can see there is an upward arrow, and I have already explained you in the previous classes that whenever the physical state is represented by upward arrow, that means gas is released. Now in this case, what we have done, we have taken NaCl, a salt, we have reacted it with H2SO4. And now you can easily observe this is now since we are done with double displacement reactions, this is a type of double displacement reaction. Since Na is more reactive than hydrogen, so it will just displace its position and form Na2SO4 and HCl will be liberated. See guys, this is how we are explaining that exactly dilution of acids, how does it takes place in water. So now HCl is liberated. So I'll take two types of litmus paper. One I'll take a dry litmus paper and one I'll take a wet litmus paper. Wet litmus paper means simply I'll just put the litmus paper under water and I'll place it near the mouth of the test tube. So after some time you'll observe the dry litmus paper. Now all of you know that since we have taken dry blue litmus paper and wet blue litmus paper, so all of you know that acids have the tendency to convert blue litmus to red. So now since I've taken dry blue litmus and wet blue litmus, out of these two, only one blue litmus paper will turn to red. And which one will exactly turn into red color, that you will come to know. Also, you'll come to know the reason behind it, that why only the one litmus paper turns red. So I'll just show it to you. See, we'll bring it near the mouth of the test tube. We'll see that dry litmus paper has no change, whereas the wet litmus paper will turn red in color. So this is how we exactly study the release of HCl gas during the process. Now, what exactly we are doing, see, what is the reason behind it that the wet litmus paper turns red, whereas the dry litmus paper doesn't turn red. Now, I've already told you that wet litmus paper means that we'll take the litmus paper and we'll dip it in the water and then we will place it near the mouth of the test tube. So since from the test tube, HCl gas is released, which when comes in contact with the water present in the litmus paper, it liberates its ions, that is H plus and Cl minus ions. So whenever water is added to acid, then only H plus ions are released and we come to know that the solution is acidic in nature, or the particular gas which is released is acidic in nature. So now you can just have a look at it. HCl plus H2O will form H plus and Cl minus ions. Now why I have written H plus or H3O plus? Because H plus cannot exist in water, it cannot exist in the form of H plus. Obviously, HCl breaks down to H plus and Cl minus. So this H plus is released from HCl. When it comes in contact with water, H2O, so it will form H3O plus. Initially H plus था, HCl break down हुआ, H plus में and Cl minus में. Then what happens? H plus, now this H plus will react with H2O molecules and it will form H3O plus. So hydrogen, you can also say that whenever acids reacts with water, it leads to formation of hydrogen ions or hydronium ion. So H plus is hydrogen ions and H3O plus is hydronium ion. I hope I'm very much clear to everyone. Now the next concept, that is dissolution of base in water. Whenever we add bases to water, which ion will be liberated? OH minus ions will be liberated because bases are represented by OH minus ions. So it is very much clear now that acids liberate H plus ions and bases liberate OH minus ions. Next thing which we have already studied in our previous classes too, that there are some few bases which can easily dissolve in water. So whenever base dissolves in water, it is termed as alkalis. That is why we say that all alkalis are basic in nature, but all bases are not alkalis. Because few bases like NaOH, if I talk about, it will be easily able to dissolve in water and it will form an alkali. But if I talk about bases such as calcium hydroxide, so it cannot dissolve in water easily. So that means it doesn't come under the category of alkalis. So bases, basically alkalis, you can talk about alkalis in terms of soap. Alkalis are generally soapy in nature, they are corrosive and they are bitter in taste. So even bases are soapy in nature, few bases are corrosive and they are bitter in taste. Now the last thing, what exactly we are going to do is dilution. So all I have already told you, dilution basically means that we are reducing the concentration of a particular ion by adding water. So now you can see I've taken water and acid, I've taken water and base. So in both the cases, whenever we do the dilution of acid or whenever we do dilution of base, suppose your teacher asks you to prepare a dilute sulfuric acid from concentrated sulfuric acid. So concentrated sulfuric acid means more number of H plus ions, hydrogen ions. If I say conc HCl, that means it has more number of H plus ions. If I say dilute HCl, that means it has less number of H plus ions. If I say concentrated nitric acid, concentrated HNO3, that means it has more number of H plus ions. Whereas if I say dilute HNO3, that means it has less number of H plus ions. So dilution is basically adding water and reducing the content of the solute from the solution. Like suppose if I say that you have to prepare a sugar solution and you have to prepare a concentrated sugar solution. So that means amount of sugar will be more as compared to water. And if you have to dilute it, that means if you have to dilute it, if you have to taste it, if you have to change the taste from sweet to like okay taste, so that means then you have to add water to it. Okay, so that it doesn't taste too sweet. Okay, I hope I'm clear to you. So acid, in case of concentrated acid, we say now let's come back to the topic, that is how do we deal with acids and bases in terms of concentrated and dilute. So concentrated acid basically means more number of H plus ions and dilute acid means less number of H plus ions. So this is exactly how we do the dilution of acids. We take water in a beaker, we take stirrer, and then we add acid to water, not water to acid. So always we prefer to add acid to water. That too slowly you have to add drop by drop with a constant stirring and not water to acid. Again, I'm saying acid is added to water drop by drop with a constant stirring, and we do not add water to acid. Similarly, in case of base, we take water and then we add base to water, not water to base. So why do we do this? Because dilution process is highly exothermic. Exothermic means it will release a good amount of heat energy. So we have to be very careful while doing the dilution process. So that is why we take water in a beaker and we add acid to it slowly so that it doesn't splash out, it doesn't hurt you, or it doesn't lead to any type of burn, it doesn't cause any burn. Similarly, in case of base, when we say that we are doing dilution of bases, that means we are reducing the OH minus ions present in a particular base. So that means we take water, we add base to the water, due to which what happens, the dilution, the number of OH minus ions will reduce and dilution of base will take place. I hope dilution process is clear from the video, that how we have to do the dilution of acids, what do we exactly mean by dilution of acids, and why don't we add water to acid, and why do we prefer to add acid to water. So we generally add acid to water just because to avoid any type of splash or any type of breakage of beaker, because the reaction is too exothermic that it can easily cause harm while doing the dilution process. So this is the reason exactly why we add acid to water and why we add base to water. Thank you.